Comme j'ai beaucoup d'expérience, on doit l'utiliser. Donc on va améliorer ça. La jauge d'endurance et de santé peut-être. Donc... Ah d'accord, ok. La santé est vraiment basse. Ok, du coup... peut-être mettre ça aussi. Voilà, je pense qu'on va laisser à peu près comme ça. J'ai pas mal augmenté de niveau, donc c'est pas trop mal. Et donc on va... Ah oui, j'avais oublié qu'il fallait confirmer comme ça. Et pas juste quitter. Ah! J'ai un mort. Ok. Super, ça commence bien. J'ai complètement oublié les touches, comment on fait. Ah, c'était pas ce que je voulais faire du coup. Je voulais juste le... Oh punaise, ils sont 3, j'avais pas vu. Quatre, vraiment? Je me tape avec 4 là. C'est pas ce que je voulais faire. Je vais mourir bêtement comme ça. Bon, j'en ai eu un. Honnêtement, je pensais pas gérer comme ça. Enfin bon, je dis ça, mais bon. Il en reste 2 quand même, hein. C'était tendu. Pour un premier combat, c'était très tendu. Récupérer un peu de vie que tes copains m'ont pris, tu vois. Oh! Ok, très bien. Mais d'où vous êtes autant? Wow. D'accord, lui, il s'est pris un coup gratuit. Ah mais non, juste... toi. Non, bon bah t'as pris pour ton copain, écoute. Hein. Mais non, j'étais à côté. Mais punaise. Tiens, tu m'as énervé. Déjà de voir ça. Couteau d'amputation usé. J'ai raté ça, vraiment? Eh ben. Et en fait, je devais également faire ça. Donc, commissure de lèvres, poitrine ouverte, les os aux jambes et aux bras.
Traces of a pinkish foam at the corner of the lips. Some sort of drug overdose, perhaps? Multiple abrasions and scarring on the arms and legs. old and distinctive injuries of a sailor or a fisherman. The chest was originally opened to perform the operation. The sutures are clean, but the chest has been reopened.
Poumon opéré.
A puncture over the left lung, possibly a chest tube insertion. Not the cleanest work, but I think it was successful.
Hémorragie interne.
Signs of internal bleeding. So, Dr. Tippett's anesthetics were incorrectly dosed, causing the patient's death. And then, he tried to operate on him again. Tippett has made an egregious error. It's time we talked.
Voilà, c'était pour ça aussi que je voulais absolument revenir ici. C'était parce que j'avais oublié d'analyser le corps. Je suis passée juste à côté et je m'en suis rendu compte en re-regardant le replay du live. Donc du coup voilà. Il faut aller voir le docteur Tippett et lui parler de la grosse erreur qu'il a faite. Je veux dire monsieur...
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Non mais c'est pas elle que je voulais. C'était... Ah bah à elle je peux quand même lui parler de l'erreur médicale du gars. Bon on va lui parler de ça alors.
I know his mistake caused a patient's death.
If I had not covered up his error, Dr. Tippett would have been fired from this hospital. I could not let that happen.
You can't allow your emotions to dictate your conduct concerning patients, Nurse Brannigan.
Look around you, Dr. Reed. Do you really think we can afford to lose a brilliant practitioner like Dr. Tippett's in our situation?
Alors ici, je comprends pourquoi vous l'avez fait. Vous avez pris un grand risque. Cette décision n'était pas de votre Brannigan.
To clear Dr. Tippett's name must be the decision of Dr. Swansea. You can't take matters into your own hands.
I respect Dr. Swansea's authority and management, but he's no idea what happens here on a daily basis. I did what I had to do.
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Pas très bonne, non. Pour toi, du moins.
Corcoran, I want you to tell me about Mr. Connor. How did he die? What happened?
He was my patient. He died because of my mistake. That's the blunt truth.
Who was this patient?
I don't know. Some sick man from the docks, maybe a fisherman. I had no time to talk with him. No one claimed a body.
What was the nature of the mistake?
It was a twofold error. My diagnosis was wrong, and the administered dosage was too strong.
J'ai pas envie de lui dire ça quand même. Vous devriez peut-être songer à prendre votre retraite. Mais bon, c'est vrai que s'il met des patients en danger, c'est pas top non plus.
Why not stop practicing?
Are you mad? I killed that man, I admit it, and it won't happen again. I have saved so many lives since then.
Donc du coup, je peux révéler ou pas son erreur. Je peux décider de le dire ou pas. Bah du coup, je ne sais pas trop ce que je vais faire. Le faire ou pas le faire. En même temps, c'est vrai que comme on est en pleine crise de pandémie de grippe espagnole, si on perd un médecin en plus, ça va être compliqué. Mais c'est vrai que s'il fait des erreurs, on va perdre encore plus de, on risque de perdre encore plus de personnes. C'est compliqué. Bon bah, je laisse comme ça pour l'instant. Je vous laisserai décider peut-être un peu plus tard.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
D'accord, il est du même niveau que moi. Et il est tombé. Il a pas vu d'où ça lui est venu, c'est ça? Voilà, comme ça déjà un en moins. Waouh, j'étais coincée au mur, j'ai cru que j'allais me prendre. Vraiment? J'étais juste devant lui et il m'a pas vu, vraiment. D'accord, il a vraiment décidé de m'ignorer. Ah, t'as décidé de venir du coup. Il m'a fait peur en plus. Tu cours, tu fais... Aïe. D'accord, il a pas trop... Il a pas trop kiffé que je me moque de lui, je crois. D'accord. Bonjour.
Good evening, sir.
Who the fuck are you? Don't you see I'm busy here?
Dr. Jonathan Reed, that's who I am. And who are you?
Ah, some fancy gentleman we've got here. Clear off. We don't want strangers on our streets.
So you won't tell me your name, then?
The name is Booth Digby. Maybe I'll ask my boys to break one or two of your bones, just so you remember it.
D'accord, donc lui déjà il a 4 de charme contre moi 1, donc du coup, oui, parce qu'il faut des niveaux de charme pour pouvoir croquer une personne. Si elle a un niveau plus haut que moi, je ne peux pas. Êtes-vous un milicien?
Are you some kind of vigilante patrolling these streets at night?
Something like that, but the police aren't in charge here. We are, see?
So, tell me about your gang, then.
What? Have you got a death wish? You really want me to answer that?
Well, yes. You seem so proud of your status. Why not tell me who you're working for?
Oi! I'm the boss, all right? The Wet Boot Boys work for me. All of them. Situation round here is better than other districts because of us. Because of me.
So you're a concerned criminal, is that it?
Using funny jokes about me and my boys, are you? Fuck. You must have some balls.
I saw many men like you during the war, Mr. Digby. Greedy little cockroaches who feed on despair.
I could kill you for saying that. But, nah. You've been a soldier, I can respect that.
Bon, c'est un bandit, mais bon, qui a quand même des principes
What can
apparemment.
you tell me about this part of town?
Things ain't that bad, thanks to us. We give people what they need, and we control this borough.
Well, you're not doing a very good job. People are still dying here like everywhere else.
Yeah, well, we can't be everywhere all the time. And Edwina says if we can find more guns, we could be more efficient.
More efficient? Really? You should probably tell Edwina that guns are useless against diseases and infections.
Incredible. You know what? You're lucky she can't hear you right now. She's more smart than patient. My sweet queen of the docks.
Good evening, miss. I am Dr. Reed. May I ask you a few questions?
Who are you? What do you want?
As I just told you, I'm a doctor. From the Pembroke Hospital, actually.
The Pembroke Hospital, you say? I ain't paying any bill left by Clay.
I'm not here to collect payment, miss.
Miss Edwina Cox.
Ah bah
So
tiens.
what do you want then? Fancy buying something from me, maybe?
Elle vend des choses.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
You can't trust anyone around here. As soon as you lower your guard, you can be sure some arsehole will take advantage of you.
You sound like you're thinking of somebody in particular.
Take the gravediggers of Southwark. They must pay me every week, but it looks like they forgot who gave them permission to steal from the dead.
Looting corpses in a mass grave. That is a new low.
Whatever. Hey, since you're a doctor and all, maybe you can access that forbidden area and remind those bastards what they owe.
Really? Don't you think that's a little bit excessive?
Bastards, all of them. This region only
Ok.
What can you tell me about your work?
I'm a businesswoman. I buy and sell things, and I send my wet boot boys after anyone who don't play nice with me.
Gang member and shopkeeper. Can't be easy running double shifts.
If you're interested, I may find use of a doctor who can freely walk across the city, you know.
Moi,
You're quite blunt, aren't you?
I like people who know what they want and say what they think. This is a time of great opportunity for those ready to embrace their destiny.
I'm not interested in a career in the criminal underworld, Miss Cox.
Fair enough.
c'est déjà difficile d'être un vampire et un médecin en même temps.
Since my return from the war, I don't feel that concerned by threats, knives, or even bullets, if you must know.
That's exactly what that stupid trade unionist claimed after he attacked one of us. Booth and I reminded him a bullet beats words every time.
Good evening, sir.
Whatever.
Don't you recognize me? We met a few nights ago.
Don't take it personally. I spent a lot of energy forgetting what I did the night before.
Yes, you had definitely drunk too much then as well. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
I'm Dyson Delaney. I'll try to remember you. This time.
Lui, je pourrais, si je voulais. Et
Inebriation aside, do you need medical help?
Yes. I feel sicker than usual these days.
Take this, then.
on va lui donner, je suis venue pour ça
And
après
perhaps you
tout.
could try to slow down the alcohol intake too.
Hey, Doc, you don't really want me to stop the only remedy I can afford.
Is there anything in particular that you like about this part of town? Except for the cheap drinks, I mean.
How dare you say such a thing? I love this neighborhood. So friendly. So joyful.
Why are you so cynical?
Cynicism is the polite way to express despair, Doctor.
No reason at all to rejoice, then. Life is hopeless and then we die, is that it?
Let me tell you a story.
Bah, vas-y,
All
allez.
right. Go on.
A few years ago, when I believed a resolute man could change things around here for good, a tragedy occurred nearby.
What kind of tragedy?
It was a bomb. Bomb that exploded and killed many people. Metal and blood everywhere. Shouts, fire, broken window of the shoe shop, the torn street light.
You lost people you loved that day, didn't you?
I've lost everything. But you know what the worst part is? I don't even remember where it happened. I've drunk so much to forget it. And now I can't remember where it was. I can't pay my homage to the dead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Delaney.
It's okay. If you ever find the place, just leave a flower for me there. Even if you tell me where it is. I'm not sure I'd memorize it.
Ok, très bien. Et que
What do
fais-tu
you
dans
do
la
for a
vie?
living, Mr. Delaney?
I drink. I drink in the morning.
Pourquoi je m'y
and at
attendais?
noon. I drink at night. And then I drink some more.
Why do you drink so much?
Maybe it's because I prefer dying slowly. Death can be so abrupt. Personally, I like to see mine coming at my own pace.
You sound very sad, sir.
That's because I am Doc.
Surely you must have had dreams and expectations when you were young, like everybody else.
Sure, I wanted things to change. To really change, and to change for good. The bigger the dream, the harder the fall.
Sounds like you were an idealist, which is honorable.
No, sir. I was an anarchist and I believed that exclusive property is a robbery in nature. I wanted a new world to rise from the ashes, Dr. Reed.
Do you really think the world is that bad?
No, I believe we all can choose to make it better. But most of us are too weak, too corrupt and too guilty. I failed for sure, but others will come.
Bon, ah bah allez.
I want to know more about your past as an anarchist, Dyson.
I'm still an anarchist, Doctor. Make no mistake. I just reject violence as a tool to change the world, unlike my comrades.
Do you still see your comrades, then? Even if you don't agree with their methods anymore, I mean.
No. I hope they'll come to share my point of view one day. I'll raise my glass to that splendid idea.
Do you believe in a bloodless revolution, then?
I do not believe in much anymore, Doctor. But I'll admit I like your idea of peaceful change. I like it a lot.
Oh, mais... 3, vraiment? Du coup, si je pouvais arriver à le choper, lui. Parfait, nickel. Et c'est pote qui continue, donc c'est parfait. Vas-y, viens. C'est pas arrivé à le caler ce deuxième coup. Dis, tu te décides, mais... Bon allez, j'en ai marre d'attendre moi. Hein. Bon du coup, il faut que j'aille chercher les deux autres. C'est pas arrivé à lui caler 2 coups du coup. Parfois ça peut être une bonne technique d'aller en dehors de leur champ de vision et essayer de choper celui qui marche comme ça. Voilà, comme ça au moins. Lui il en a eu rien à faire, vas-y. Je peux prendre? Parfait.
This is Braille.
Un texte en
I need
braille.
someone who can read
Un
this.
texte illisible car écrit en braille dont seul le titre est écrit en caractère romain. Remède contre la cécité. Oh, ils sont trop hauts pour moi. Donc du coup, en plus j'avais oublié, c'est pour ça que j'ai perdu une personne à Whitechapel, c'est que quand il y a quelqu'un en danger, si je change de nuit, bah du coup la personne meurt en réalité. Donc du coup je peux pas y aller là. C'est ça que j'essaie de retenir. Ah ouais non, les rats non. Je croque pas les rats moi. Bon, donc du coup on a trouvé un nouveau refuge. Qui n'est pas vraiment un refuge puisque bon la porte est totalement défoncée mais bon. Monsieur Bate doit cesser. des mois, voire des années durant, Cardigan Base nous a exploités. Monsieur Bates doit cesser. Si nous avons plus d'argent ou un travail digne de ce nom, jamais nous ne louerions ces appartements au loyer exorbitant. Monsieur Bates doit cesser. Nous savons tous quel genre de solution révoltante il propose aux femmes qui ne peuvent pas payer leur loyer hebdomadaire. Monsieur Bates doit cesser. Allons le voir tous ensemble bientôt, exigeons un changement immédiat. Ok. Sauf que comme il est mort, bah, ça ne sert pas à grand chose. Mais au moins j'aurais récupéré des documents, ce qui n'est pas plus mal. Bon, ça a l'air d'être deux... Ok. Ça va, 10-11. Ça leur fait rien, vraiment? Ok, donc finalement, non, ils étaient pas vraiment... Roger le mur. Ok, très bien. Bon, du coup, ça va être toi qui va me donner du sang. Parce que ton copain a pas voulu. Je m'occuperai de ton copain après. Alors, lui, il est retourné là. Arrête! Mais... On va éviter de descendre. Ah, punaise. Oh! Couru droit sur lui, vas-y. Ah, je me disais bien que s'il faisait ça, c'est qu'il y avait une raison. Ah. Ben voilà, enfin. D'accord, là, c'est fermé. Ici.
Whitechapel. This neighborhood is linked somehow to the kind Lady Ashbury's blackmail. First, let's find this Petrescu fellow.
Et il a un masque. Il a vraiment tiré. On va aller voir parce que... Ça va bien, monsieur?
The bastard hit the wall next to me. I don't even know if he meant to miss.
If you've been hurt, I can help you. I'm a doctor.
Name's Albert. Remember it. Now bugger off.
Ah bah dis donc. D'accord, lui si je voulais je peux le croquer si je veux. Lui il a de l'anémie, il faudra que j'essaie de le soigner.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? If you know anything about her, I'd appreciate it.
Never heard of her. She's pretty, I'll keep an eye out.
Ok.
What happened? Did you really steal that man's medication?
Hey, I didn't do anything, it ain't me.
Il vous a peut-être pris pour quelqu'un d'autre. Ce que vous avez fait est inexcusable. Vous avez choisi une cible facile, n'est-ce pas? Bah, le gars a dit qu'il avait volé, mais c'est pas dit forcément que c'est lui.
All right. Perhaps the poor drunk just confused you with someone else.
Sod off, mister. You ain't got no clue what's going on here. Bastard was a soldier in the war, so now he's got the right to shoot me.
It's true. I'm not familiar with this part of town. Perhaps you could help me.
I said sod off. Go find yourself another guide.
C'est lui, je suppose.
Shooting a boy in the middle of a street. Not the best thing to do, wouldn't you say?
What? You saw what happened? Who are you?
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you promise me to set your gun aside.
No. Look, I'm not a violent man. I'm Benjamin Palmer, doctor. And no one can help me. Not even you.
Whatever the boy did, I'm sure he didn't deserve a public execution.
I swear I didn't want to hit him. It's just that I'm sick in the head, you see, and the boy he just frayed me last nerve.
What is it, Benjamin? It was the war, wasn't it? Your nerves are shot, aren't they? I need some answers, Private. From one soldier to another.
The doctors called me a liar. A coward. Put me in a straitjacket, locked me up. Finally, they sent me back to the front lines with a handful of tablets.
Ce sont des méthodes barbares. Vous ne devriez pas avoir honte, ressaisissez-vous.
Yes. Sounds like shell shock. I've seen a few cases like yours. This is nothing you should be ashamed of, Benjamin. And it's perfectly natural in your situation.
I'm not ashamed. I just need my pills. Peace and quiet, that's all.
Perhaps you could focus for a moment and tell me your troubles.
I'm sick, broke, and my son just stole my pills. Everything's coming up roses.
Oh, c'est son fils en plus. Attends. D'accord, lui, si je voulais, je pourrais le croquer. Il est malade aussi, il a des migraines.
What can you tell me about this place?
Nothing to say, really. This is where I used to live, and this is where I live now.
You don't have anywhere to go? No family that would welcome you?
Not since the death of my wife, Albert's mother. She was sick, you see. Long before the flu and all this shit.
You mean you used to have a better life?
Yeah, I had a wife, a home, and a job. I even used to have a name. Now I'm just Ben. Ben the Tramp.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Have you heard anything?
It's funny, I've been searching for her too. I need some pills. But the woman is a phantom, if you ask me.
Really? And why is that?
Word is she ain't real. She's a cover for some doctor who runs an illegal dispensary for migrants.
Ok,
A
au revoir.
gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now. Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually, I am.
Then you have come to the right place. The famous Swanborough cordial is all you need to help keep you in perfect health.
Oh, really? Why didn't I hear about it during my studies? I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta Swanborough, and it's always a pleasure to meet a fellow healer.
Je sais pas si on peut vraiment dire qu'on est confrères, écoute. D'accord, elle, je ne peux pas, si je peux pas encore la croquer. Parce qu'elle a 3 de charme et moi 1. Évidemment, elle n'est pas malade. D'accord, rien.
Tell me, Who intrigues you most in Whitechapel?
The region itself is something to see, but I would say Camellia the mute florist who gives away her flowers.
Is there anyone I should avoid?
Cadogan Bates, without a doubt. The bloody bastard remorselessly exploits poor migrants as soon as they get here.
Il reste plus d'exploiter grand monde, hein? Il est mort.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like to talk about competition.
Competition, you say?
Never met her, but it seems she provides some sort of medical care to the poor. The whole thing has to be some sort of scam, if you ask me.
Moi, c'est sûr que toi, tout ce que tu fais, c'est tout ce qui est de plus honnête. Un remède qui soigne la maladie. On va l'acheter. Parce que je pense que de mémoire, on peut l'analyser, son truc.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I'm looking for Nurse Dorothy Crane.
There is no Dorothy Crane here. Now goodbye.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now. Go bother someone else, Mr. Doctor.
To enter that house, I must discover who this man really is. Maybe I could start by observing what he's up to.
Enquêter sur les actions. Ah ouais, d'accord. Faut que j'arrive à trouver par où je peux passer. Par là.
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be from Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nethercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me just downwind.
I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned.
Welcome, sir. Please, take a browse of my wares.
I am Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis. Usually I don't have time to waste with talk, but at this hour of the night I can hardly refuse.
As a merchant, you see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary recently?
What you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and all the usual crap? As long as I can remember, this part of town has been a bottomless pit, and no sign of the bottom yet.
Violence is increasing in the borough.
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned workshops. Fever, madness, something like that.
Where did this happen? Why did you go there?
In the closed workshops nearby. I worked there as an apprentice in better days. Now I only go to find trinkets or tools. Too bad I was mugged, though. There was good money in that little box of loot I lost.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving lunatics, I tell you. Not even able to speak anymore, just screaming.
How is business around here?
Business? I have no business. Between this racket, theft, and customers getting scared, I'm losing money every day.
I see. Sounds like you blame someone in particular for your situation.
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants. But with me, he's trying to put me out of business once and for all.
Have you heard of a nurse called Dorothy Crane?
Nurse Crane? So the bitch really is a nurse, then? Always thought she was just some crafty foreigner, that one.
C'est une très bonne infirmière, bien sûr, c'est de la faute des immigrés. Elle essaie simplement d'aider. J'hésite entre elle essaie simplement d'aider ou c'est une très bonne infirmière. Oh, soit que ça soit une très bonne infirmière, je suppose. Bon, elle essaie simplement d'aider.
Why would that make her a villain?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something like that. Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
Excuse me, sir. Are you
oui, voilà, c'est lui.
part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
C'est honteux, c'est un crime, c'est tout à fait logique. Ah, il est malade aussi, lui.
Do you need assistance?
Ah zut, j'aurais peut-être pas dû faire ça, du coup.
Who knows what I may have caught during my investigation.
Bah là, on va lui donner.
If you persist in investigating the most pox-ridden boroughs of London, you must accept the risks.
Thank you, sir.
En soi, ne pas le dire, c'est faire en sorte que les gens ne fassent pas attention, donc ça pourrait faire plus de morts.
If no one stops it, this epidemic could turn into a scourge. It may kill more people than the war itself.
Yes, this is another kind of war, but just as deadly. History will judge us all for what we did and what we did not.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
Il y a une explication rationnelle. Mon rationnel a récemment été ébranlé. Ce n'est pas une simple épidémie. Bref, clairement, c'est pas une simple épidémie.
I'm convinced there is more at work here than a simple epidemic.
Really? To be honest, I could say the same. Some of the sick I saw or heard of. My God, what happened to them?
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
Faut risquer votre vie pour révéler la vérité. La population est-elle vraiment intéressée?
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
L'infirmière que je connais est impliquée à sa cause confidentielle. Je me soucie de la santé publique. On va peut-être pas lui dire, on ne sait pas. Si on peut lui faire confiance. On va pas lui dire que c'est confidentiel parce que bon, ça va le rendre encore plus curieux. Je me soucie de la santé publique.
I'm a doctor, Mr. Darby. I care about everything involving public health and this epidemic.
Are you sure you're not just concerned about the repercussions that a scandal involving a certain Nurse Crane from the Pembroke Hospital would bring?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious, never goes out, doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
Il ne sort jamais.
He never goes out. No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him. but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
He has no relatives at all?
No, except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nethercott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
Ah bah ça tombe bien, c'est la deuxième personne à qui je dois aller parler.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
Ah bah voilà, lettre de Darius Petrescu. Mes chers enfants bien-aimés, je m'en veux tellement de ne pas vous avoir donné de mes nouvelles durant ces derniers mois. La situation ici à Londres a été des plus difficiles. Je sais que cela peut paraître égoïste de ma part et même absurde à l'heure où vous, mes enfants, vivez toujours dans un pays consumé par la guerre. Votre père, toujours aimant, Darius Petrescu.
The content of Darius' letter to his children could give me more leverage to enter.